I'm Chijis and you have found Chijis Stitches. If this is your first time here, I'm so glad you found me. Welcome back to all my returning subscribers. It's always a joy to create with you. Please do not forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment at the comment section, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a moment of calm, inspired creation. Let's pick up our fabric to our sewing machine. Let's make magic with every stitch. So this is how to make this jumbo pant, or also known as baggy pants, and you can see on your screen this isn't the regular jumbo pants with elastic waistband, but a normal waistband that you can see on the waist. Then it has a pleat. You can see the pleat on both sides, and also a side pocket. It has a side pocket and a zipper at the back. Sorry, this mannequin is not my client's size, so I had to just hook it at the back. But you can see the baggy parts. You can see the baggy parts also. So let's get to the table and let's create magic with every stitch. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you the materials needed and the measurements needed for this production. So we have our fabric. I'm going to be using 2.5 yards here. I'm going to be using a matching thread and zip. I'm going to be using this hairstay for the band. I'm going to be using my measuring tools, my scissors, my chalk, my tape. That is what we're going to be using for the production. So we're going to be going to the measurements. The measurements needed for this is the full length, waist to crotch depth, waist to hip, or known as hip line, round waist, round hip, front crotch extension, back crotch extension, fabric to fold. So I'm going to be leaving this on the screen for you to see what are the measurements needed, and please impute your measurements, except you have the type of my body and both of us have the same measurement. That is when you will be able to use my measurement. But if not, please, I would love you to impute your measurement by yourself. To get the fabric to fold, like I said, this is the formula. Fabric to fold, that is your round hip divided by 4 plus 6 or 7 inches. That is if you're using an Ankara, that's an African print. For this, you will say round hip divided by 4 plus 6 or 7 inches. I would recommend that you use between 6 or 7 inches. Don't use more than that. But if you want to go more than that, maybe 8. If you're using a crepe fabric, you just say your round hip divided by 2. That is if you're using a crepe fabric, because I don't want my trouser to be too bogus. That is why I'm using 6 or 7 inches. So when you say your round hip divided by 4 plus 6 or 7 inches, my round hip is 44.5 divided by 4 will give me 11.1 plus 7, that will give me roughly 18.1, but I'm going to be using 18. So if you're using 8 inches or you're using 6 inches, you would know how to fold. So fabric to fold is 18. Now this my fabric on my work table is actually 18 inches. You can see that. So I'm going to be using 18. I'm going to be taking 1.5 inches. This is going to be for my band. I'll just place it here and just mark 1.5 like this. 1.5. After marking your 1.5, then I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to straighten up the line. So I don't know, I think this yellow chalk is not showing very well, so I'm going to be switching to the white chalk. So after taking out my 1.5 inches, I'm going to impute my other vertical measurements. The next measurement I'm going to be putting down is my hip, that is my waist to hip measurement, and my waist to hip measurement is 9 inches. So I'm going to mark 9 here, 9 inches. Still placing your tape on your 1.5, taking out your 1.5, like that. You can see what I'm doing here. After that, I'm going to square out the lines. So still placing my 1.5, I'm going to measure out my crotch depth, and my crotch depth is 12.6 inches. How do you get your crotch depth? Your crotch depth measurement is your round hip divided by 4 plus 1.5. If you want that place, if you want your crotch area to be a bit more freer, you can say round hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches, but I'm going to be using 1.5, and that is how I arrived at my crotch depth, which is 12.6 inches, and I'm going to impute that here. Then I'm going to be taking the full length of this trouser. Then after that, taking my full length, I'm going to square it out. After taking my full length, I have my waistline here, my hip line, my crotch line, and my full length. I labeled it so that I would not be confused. Now I'm going to get my front crotch extension, and to get your front crotch extension, this is the formula: 44.5, which is my round hip, divided by 20. So your round hip circumference, your round hip, your hip circumference, anyone you want to call it, divided by 20. So I got 2.3. I'm going to be rounding it up to 2.5. So on my crotch line, that is this part here, I hope you can see it clearly. On this part, I'm going to be marking 2.5. You can see where I placed my measuring tape. So I'm going to mark 2.5 on my crotch. Mark that here. That's 2.5. And I'm going to connect this line straight up to my waist measurement. Then at this angle 90, I'm going to be coming out by 1 inch. I'm going to place my tape at this angle 90 here, at this part, this angle. I'm going to come out by 1 inch. This is for my curve. Just watch what I'm doing. After getting that, I'm going to introduce my curve ruler, and I'm going to curve this part. So this is my curve. I have connected it and I have a curve here. So I'm going to mark my round waist measurement, and look at where I'm taking my round waist measurement from this crotch part. So I'm going to mark my round waist measurement, and my round waist measurement is 8.5, which I'm going to be imputing here. It has pleats on it, so I'm going to be adding 3 inches for my pleats. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch for seam allowance, that is sewing allowance. So let me repeat that again. I said my waist measurement, which is 8.5, plus 3 inches for my pleats, plus 1 inch for seam allowance, and I'm going to connect this line to this line. That is my 1 inch seam allowance. I'm going to be connecting it to the hip line using my curve. Now that is it, and I'm going to take this line all the way down. Using my long ruler, I'm going to connect this line all the way down. Then I'm going to cut. So I've cut the crotch part. After cutting the crotch, I'm going to be cutting this other part here, that is at the waist line. After cutting this part, I'm going to open it through like this. Now this is the pattern for the front. So on the waistline, I'm going to be coming down by 0.5 inches, and I'm going to slant it up to the waistline. This is so that the pants can sit well when you put it on. So just connect from this line to this place. Then I'm going to cut this part off. So I'm going to be using this front piece. I'm going to be using this front piece. This is the front. I'm going to be using it to cut the back piece. So I have placed my front pattern on top of another fabric to cut my back pattern. So you can see on this top part here, you will notice that I added material here. Yes, I added material because I am quite tall. I'm very tall, and Ankara comes in 45 to 46, and I'll be needing up to like 47 for my full length. So that's why I added another material to the top so that I can get more fabric to work on at the top part because of my bum. So after that, now after placing your front pattern on the piece that you use to cut your back pattern, I'm going to be coming up on this part here by 2 inches. But if you are not on the bigger bum size, you can use 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to be placing 2 inches above here. So if you notice at this part, there is no allowance here. At the side part, there is no allowance. Just place your fabric on top, leaving no allowance, because this is where the allowance is going to be coming. And I'm going to be adding a zip to this pattern. This is not your regular trendy baggy pants that has elastic. This one has a zip and it has waist pleats. So after that being said, on my crotch line, I'm going to mark my back crotch, and to get my back crotch, I'm just going to be adding 1 inch to the front crotch. You know, we use 2.5 for the front crotch, so I'm going to be adding 1 inch, and that is going to be 3.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 3.5 inches here. Then I'm going to use my ruler to highlight this crotch line, that is extending the line to this crotch line. Now this is it, 3.5. So this is for the back crotch. I have already indicated my hip line already. This is my hip line. So I'm going to be coming out by 2.5 inches at that's my hip line. So 2.5 inches on this hip line, just come out by it. 2.5 inches on the hip line. Then you place it here. Then I'm going to connect this 3.5 inches for the back crotch line. I'm going to connect it like this all the way to this point. This 2.5 inches is for my butt allowance. So if you're on the smaller side, the smaller size can use 2 inches or 1.5. So after marking your 2.5 here, I'm just going to connect this line all the way. So now this is my back crotch. Then on the thigh area, I'm going to be coming down by 2 inches. 2 inches, I'm going to be coming out 2 inches for my allowance. That is my allowance, my seam allowance. I'm going to mark 2 inches all the way down. After coming out by 2 inches, I'm going to cut this. But before I cut it, please let's work on the waist. So on the waist part, I'm going to be coming up by 2 inches. If you're on the smaller side, you can use 1.5 inches. So I'm going to come out by 2 inches, sorry. I'm going to come out by 2 inches. Then I'm going to slant this line all the way into the side, that is towards this part. After connecting the line, I'm going to be coming out by 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance, and I'm going to place it here. So I'm going to come out by 1.5. That is on the back crotch line. I'm coming out by 1.5 inches. So I'm going to get the length of my zip, and I want my zip to be 9 inches. To be 9. I've marked 9. So come out by 1.5. So I'm going to connect this line together. So I have marked out my 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. Then the length of my zipper, I'm going to be using 9 inches, which is here. So I'm going to cut it out now. Then I'm going to cut this part off. Now it's equal at the length. Then I'm going to cut this part off too. I'm going to be cutting the sides. So I'm going to be opening the sides of the back because it was on fold, we cut it. So I'm going to open the back. Now this is the full pattern. This is our front and this is our back. So after that, this is the pattern, the front and the back pattern. So we're going to be stitching them up now. So for the front panel, I'm going to be stitching the crotch side with 1/2 inch. That is, I'm going to be using 1/2 inch at the crotch parts. Just put 1/2 inch here. Just take it round, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. So I'm going to just connect this 0.5 inches together, and I'm going to stitch from this part. I'm going to close the crotch part. And for the back panel, I'm going to use 1/2 inch at this point. I'm going to use 1/2 inch here. Same thing we did at the front. We're going to mark another 1/2 inch here, just like that. So I'm going to use this 1/2 inch to stitch all the way till I get to this breaking point, that is my zipper allowance. I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch all the way to this part. Then after that, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So after stitching, this is what we have. This is the back pattern. I have already stitched it. You can see I have already stitched it. This is what it looks like for the back pattern. And for the front part, I have also stitched it. This is what it looks like for the front pattern. When you open it, this is exactly what it looks like. See, so we're going to be marking out our pleats now. Let's get our pleats. You could see where I'm putting my tape. My tape is starting from where I joined. That is this. You can see this part. I don't know that you can see it well, but you can see where I'm pointing here. That is my crotch, where I joined my crotch together. I'm just going to repeat it again. You take your measuring tape, you mark your bust span, that is your nipple to nipple, and mine is 4 inches. So I've marked 4 inches here. That is what I have here. Then I'm going to mark 3 inches because 3 inches was the measurement we set aside for the pleats. So I'm going to mark 3 inches here. Then I'm going to divide. Now my tape is still there. I'm going to divide 3 inches into 2. So 3 divided by 2, that is 1.5. So I'm going to mark the middle here, 1.5. Do you understand? Let me repeat it again. After taking your nipple to nipple, that is your bust span, mine is 4. Then I came out by 3 inches. After marking 4 inches, I came out by 3 inches for my pleats because we set aside 3 inches for the pleats. Then that 3 inches now, I'm going to divide that 3 inches into 2, and that is 1.5. After marking my 1.5, this is it here. Now we're going to be making use of our pins. So this is my 4 inches here. I'm going to pick it up like this. Just pick the tip. I'm going to place it on the middle, that is the 1.5, the one that we divided. I'm going to place it on the middle like this. Then I'm going to take this other parts and I'm going to place it on top. So now this is a kissing pleat. You can see then you use your pin and you pin it, then you go to your sewing machine and you stitch. Now I'm on my sewing machine. I just want to explain this part. I'll just take that 4 inches. This is my 4 inches here. Remember, my nipple to nipple. This is the 4 inches. This is the 3 inches. Then in between these 3 inches now, we have 1.5 because we divided the 3 inches into two. Then I'm going to take this my nipple to nipple here. This my nipple to nipple first pleats here. This first line. Then I'm going to put it on top of this one here. That's the middle. On top of the middle one. After doing that, you have to align it well. After putting that, I'm going to take this last one here now and kiss it on top of this like this. It's very easy. If you have any question, please do ask in the comment section and I'm going to reply you. So I'm going to use my pin to secure it like this. You can see that. Then I'm going to stitch on top. Please make sure that it is together. There's no one that is shying away from the other one. So put it like this. Then I'm going to stitch on top of it. Please, if you haven't liked this video, please kindly like. Please kindly like. It will help push our video to other sewing mates like you that are finding it difficult to make some particular outfits. This is going to be of great importance to them. Please do like this video and subscribe. Thank you. You can see what I have here. Now you can see the pleats. You can see. When I'm done, I'm going to take it to the ironing board and I'm going to iron it and you'll see the aftermath. And now you can see the pleats on it. You can see what it looks like, right? So if you followed my steps, you will be getting something like this. And if you're not getting something like this, then try and pause and check where you must have made a mistake. So now the front part for the pleats is ready and I'm going to work on the back part. So after that, this is what I have. This is it here. After that, I'm going to measure out my round waist divided by 2 to make sure that I have my round waist on the waistline and also my seam allowance. And total here I have 19, which is enough for me. Around waist divided by 2, which is 17, it will give me 17.2. Then I have extra 2 inches for my seam allowance. So now this is perfect. You can see how beautiful the pleats are. This is what the front looks like. You can see what it looks like. I have ironed down my pleats and you can see how beautiful it looks. Except you want it bogus, then you can use the round hip divided by 4 plus probably maybe 8.
Introducing my
But
back
if you want it
piece,
medium like
I'm going to
normal,
be
I would
using
advise you use
1
your
inch
round hip divided
to
by
join
4
the
plus
sides.
6 inches. I think 6 inches is very, very okay. With 1 inch at the side, and I repeated the same thing for this side, 1 inch. Then for the inseam, I used 0.5 inches. You can see I used 0.5 inches to stitch the inseam part. Then I'm going to hem the legs. After hemming the legs, I'm going to use this to cut the waistband. I'll attach my hair stay to this. I'm going to fix my zipper. Then I'll put it on the mannequin and I'll show you what it looks like. Please do like this video, subscribe and turn on your post notification to be updated anytime to post a new video.